Well, some of us saw this coming, but now it's actually here. Physical games are not just dying anymore. Sony just gave us the date of the funeral. Ladies and gentlemen, we have breaking news here today. This earlier this morning, Sony officially announced that they will be ending physical games on PlayStation consoles in January of 2028. No, your ears do not deceive you. We have confirmation today, unfortunately. I'm going to pull up the official PlayStation blog here, and then we'll kind of dive into it together, and I'll share my thoughts. So it says physical disc production ending in January 2028 for new games releasing on PlayStation consoles as consumer preferences and the broader entertainment industry continue to shift away from physical disc to digital. Are you sure you mean consumer preferences, Sony? Are you sure you don't mean corporate preferences so you can save more money and then also charge more for digital games as opposed to going to a retailer such as Walmart or GameStop and finding a game on sale and then you're going to charge full price for it on the PSN store, even if that game is 5, 6, 7, 8 years old? Right? Anyways, physical game disc production for all new games releasing on PlayStation consoles will be discontinued starting January 2028. Following this date, new games will be available on PlayStation Store and at retailers in digital formats only. This transition has no impact on games that have already released or will be releasing prior to January 2028 in disc format. This is a natural direction for Sony Interactive Entertainment to adapt to consumer trends as the general preference for digital media significantly outpaces physical disc. This transition will enable us to align more closely with how most of our community prefers to access and play games today. Now, when they mention this as far as the general preference, right? So it was reported from, and I believe this was from Genki on X. It says PlayStation's 2025 Q4 financial report. The company stated that 85% of games sold on the platform were purchased digitally. This is a trend that we've seen across all gaming consoles over the past decade, with acceleration during the pandemic in 2020. So even though the announcement, right, this announcement is like, it's shocking. It's obviously not good news for anybody that's in the gaming world. But at the same time, it's not that surprising, right? Because they're showing, the data's here. Everything's about data nowadays with AI and analytics and all this stupid shit. The financial report says that from last year, more people are buying them digitally. But at the same time, you're taking away options from players. You're taking away options from your consumers. This is just more into the anti-consumer propaganda, right? Holy shit, man. Like, you're taking away those options. And also, how is this going to affect backward compatibility, especially when that PS6 launches? So if you're telling me that on the PS6, right, if I decide to buy, which I'm absolutely not, I'm PS5 will be the last console I ever own of Sony if they actually go through with this. But let's say hypothetically, I buy the PS5, or I'm sorry, the PS6. It's digital only, right? It's 2028. I can't have any physical games on the platform anymore or on the console. How the fuck am I going to have backwards compatibility on my PS4 and PS5 physical games that I already purchased? Are you saying that I have to purchase it again, Sony? Just to play it on the PS6 via backwards compatibility? And no, don't give me that bullshit about, oh, it's only a $10 upgrade. I shouldn't have to pay any more money because I've already purchased it. I have the disc. I own it. I'm supposed to own it. But we don't own anything, right? We're just renting. It's a never endless renting cycle, right? Holy shit. You would honestly think, or you would think, or maybe you wouldn't even know that Sony actually helped create and popularize Blu-ray disc, because now they're moving away from physical disc altogether. Like, holy shit. What time frame are we living in, ladies and gentlemen? And by the way, this news comes only days after Sony announced that they are removing 500 movie titles from PSN accounts. And yes, that includes me because back in 2014, 2015, I believe, I actually purchased movies on the PSN store because it was convenient. They had sales at the time. Also, flat screen TVs weren't as cheap as they are now, especially when it comes to Roku's being built in, like the Roku TVs, et cetera, where you can just get your movies on there or have subscriptions, et cetera. I already had the PS4, so it was more convenient. Now, those movies, those 500 movies that I purchased, and that's I'm sure many many others purchased with their own money, are now gone. They're out in the ether somewhere, disappeared, gone. We own nothing, and we will be happy, right? I mean, I don't know. Also, I want to mention as well that Sony also announced today, so even more bad news, if you can believe that, that and it says an update on PlayStation Store for PS3 and PS Vita. Changes start this year in select markets, followed by global changes in 2027. So it says, after nearly 2 decades of supporting the PS3 console generation, we wanted to let you know we will be closing the PlayStation Store on PS3 as well as on PS Vita. PlayStation Store on PS3 will close in select markets starting this year, so you're not even getting that much of a notice, followed by global closures for PS3 and PS Vita next year. That means that new content purchases will no longer be possible once the PlayStation Store closes on these devices. To ease the transition, players will still be able to download previously purchased content after the closing date for the foreseeable future. Now, this news is not as shocking to me as the first bit of news, only because I don't know if you guys remember, but Sony actually tried to do this back in 2021 of shutting down the PlayStation Store on these older consoles, but they actually canceled it because of consumer feedback. So that shows you right there that if we speak loud enough, if all of us unite together, and if there's enough gamers that come together and show our dissatisfaction with this news, that we can make a difference. And I'm going to say this in transition into this statement. Every single person that is a fan of gaming that has some form of social media. I don't care if you're a small YouTuber, a big YouTuber, if you have Twitter, X, Discord, whatever the case might be. Every person that is a gamer and that loves gaming as much as I do needs to make their voice loud and clear. Everybody needs to shout from the freaking rooftops about this horrible, horrible decision that is just more anti-consumer, because that is the only way that we are going to facilitate and force some type of change, right? Reading further, it says, we know this news may be disappointing to PS3 and PS Vita players who hold a special place in their hearts for this generation of gaming. PS3 and PS Vita represent an important era for our PlayStation history, so this was not an easy decision for us to make. As we continue to expand the PlayStation experience on newer devices that most of our users are playing on today, we need to focus on more resources on delivering the best gaming experiences on these platforms as we look ahead towards the future. And then it's that corporate BS moving forward, and the good PR with we want to give our heartfelt thanks, blah 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 blah. I mean, honestly, do we even get good news anymore as gaming fans in 2026? Like, I honestly feel that ever since 2020, and honestly, it was probably before 2020, but especially since 2020 with the pandemic, every year that has gone by, we just get bad news after bad news after bad news after bad news. I mean, honestly, Xbox raising their prices on the console multiple times, I should add. PlayStation following suit with the exact same thing. Now the PS5 Pro is going to be $900. The digital Slim or whatever they call it, it's going to be more now, 650 or whatever it is. They Xbox Game Pass, they raised the prices for a while, and then they reduced the prices with the new CEO because she's trying so hard to get consumers back and redo the Xbox idea or their strategy, whatever. But holy shit, it's been bad news after bad news. And I am honestly so happy that I finally pulled the trigger and bought a gaming PC earlier this year in February when I did, because holy shit, for console gamers, like it, like what's even the point anymore? What is the point of having a console anymore? Because if you're on console, like the whole point of having a console was, first of all, it was more affordable, right? Especially with the prices in today's economy. It was more affordable, not anymore, but it was more affordable. You could actually feel like you owned the game. You had that physical disc in your hand. You could just pop in the disc back then, and you played that game right then and there. You didn't have to worry about a bunch of updates and stupid downloads, and a license to play the game, or we can take that license away anytime. You had that physical copy. You could let your friend borrow the game if you wanted to. You could go trade in the disc at GameStop if you wanted to get some credit and maybe purchase another game, whatever the case might be. Now all that's gone. It's going away. Boom, nada, nothing. You will own nothing and be happy. And on top of that, Sony, so you're saying that the PlayStation Store is going to be digital only now. Why in the world would you want to compete with Steam? Because Steam is super consumer friendly. They give refunds in the first 24 hours of you purchasing a game if you change your mind, or if you only played or what is it? Maybe it's longer than 24 hours. And what is it? I think if you play a game, like if you hit play and you start playing it, but it's less than 3 hours, you can automatically get a refund. My point is, they are consumer friendly. Steam also has a very good amount of sales. Like there's always a sale, some way, shape, or form every time I log on to the Steam store on my gaming PC. And Sony, you're saying that you want to compete with that? Why? Because you charge full price for majority of your games, even if they're 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, compared to Steam, who doesn't always do that. Like at this point, if you have a console, if you have a PS5 or Xbox Series X or S, like you better start preparing to get a gaming PC now. And I know a lot of you are saying, well, Chris, Midnight Rage, that's my real name, Chris. You could go. Gaming PCs are more expensive, especially if you want to support high-end gaming, right? Especially with the RAM prices increasing, etc. I understand that. But let's make one thing clear. The PS6 is probably going to be $1,000. The PS5 Pro is already $900. It's going to get worse. There are probably going to be more price increases that are happening. So if you look at it from that perspective, it's not going to that expensive price is not going to be that far away from getting a entry level decent gaming PC. You might as well start building now, or at least get that in your mind to prepare to do that. Like no one can defend this news. If you're a gamer and you defend this, you're wrong. There's no other way to put it. You're wrong. You are a corporate dit sucking piece of shit, and there's no room for it. I understand that digital is convenient. Yes, it is. I've purchased a bunch of digital games on my PS5. And you could probably look at that and say, well, I'm part of the problem, right? Because we helped create this. But at the same time, we're not the one that makes these decisions. Yes, digital is convenient, but at the same time, you should never, ever take choices away from the consumers. And then on top of that, now we can just have a license for a game, and you can just take it away whenever you want to. So we're never going to own anything, right? Another thing I want to point out as well is, like, we've seen games over the years like Spider-Man 2, the recent Call of Duties over the last 5 years, where if you want to get like the Ultimate Collector's Vault Edition, you have to purchase the digital copy in order to get those extra benefits. You have to get a physical copy. You can only get the standard edition. So they've been doing that the past few years, and now that's going to get worse. We're not going to have those beautiful, rare, Ultimate Collector's Edition where we get like a fridge, like the Juggernaut fridge with Black Ops 3. You're not going to get any of that shit anymore. It's all going away. And I'm also thinking too, like, is this because they make this announcement right after Rockstar announces that GTA 6 is going to be digital only. No physical copies are going to be made. The physical box is only going to have the code in it. So I'm wondering, like, if they were already, maybe they were already thinking about doing this, looking at the data for the 85%, having the board meetings, looking at the analytics, et cetera. They were probably already thinking about doing this, just kind of deciding, hey, when do I pull the trigger on this? Which honestly, I thought they were going to pull the trigger maybe in like a few years, but they're doing it now. That's why it's a little more shocking to me. But I'm wondering, like, after the announcement of Rockstar, like, if they saw that and say, you know what, Rockstar GTA 6 is going to be the biggest game of the freaking decade, right? The standard edition's 80, the ultimate edition's 100, and if they're going to do digital only, then that means we can go ahead and make the announcement that every game on PlayStation is now going to be digital only. I'm wondering if that gave them the confidence to go ahead and pull that trigger now. Very interesting. Either that, or maybe they already have their mind made up, and they already had that conversation with Rockstar. Because if you notice, it says on the Rockstar website when they talk about GTA 6, GTA 6 plays best on PS5. So I'm wondering if they already have that, into fruition. That's pretty much all I wanted to cover in today's video. I felt like it was super important to make this video because, once again, I think it's very important that all gamers unite, come together, and just rebel against this horrible, horrible anti-consumer news. So that's going to do it for this video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Do you guys prefer physical? Do you prefer digital? Are you a fan of both? Is this news shocking to you? Did you see it coming? Let me know in the comments down below. I really would like to know so we can start this discourse with you guys on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Midnight Rage. Have a good one.